We're sitting down with Broncos president and CEO Joe Ellis. Joe, like much of the rest of the city, do you have Drew Lock mania?
Yeah, a little bit. I'm bullish on Drew, Phil. Brought a lot of energy and excitement to the locker room, to the playing field, and to the fans. And so I'm optimistic and looking forward to seeing him next year. He'll have an off season that he didn't have last year. He's got more time to kind of develop and grow and master his craft. And so hopefully things go onward and upward.
How did Vic Fangio do his first season here?
I thought he did really well. He's a really good teacher, and he has a way of communicating to players and getting them to do what he needs them to do so that they can see they'll be successful not only individually but as collectively as a team. And it didn't always work out in wins and losses, but our guys always played hard. And some improvements I think he himself would acknowledge he needs to make in terms of game management or administration of his staff or the football program in general. But having never been a head coach, I think for his first year, really pleased with how he did.
4 years out of the playoffs, though, for the Broncos. How confident are you in John Elway that he's going to return the Broncos to the postseason?
I've had a lot of candid conversations with John, and I think we share similar frustrations about where things are. But John is candid about reasons why things didn't go the way they should have in the last couple of years, and now recognizes that our margin for error, we've got to hit on players and get better and do well in these upcoming draft and free agency sessions that we have, or time frame that we have coming up. So a lot of hard work to be done, and we have a good nucleus, Phil, of younger players, but it's got to grow a little deeper. And if it does, I think we can be headed to some sustained success.
Yeah, John said that he thinks playoffs are a part of the plan for next year. Joe, the no-shows, I know you talked about it a little bit at your press conference, got better the last couple of weeks, but what kind of things is the organization trying to do to get fans in the seats? Well,
the feedback we got was win some games. And I think people did vote with their feet a little bit by not showing up. And I understand that. We got a lot of research that we do through our Voice of the Fan surveys and just general walking around the parking lots and through word of mouth hearing what people think. And when you have had the record that we've had for 3 years, I understand their frustration for sure. I do think they're very loyal and they're faithful, and I admire their loyalty and their willingness to come back. But they want to see better results. There's no question about it, and we've got to deliver that.
Anything away from the football field? I mean, the game day entertainment's great. The Wi-Fi, things like that.
I think we got to look at that. It's a lot of it has been the same things that we've been running over the course of several years, and I know we'll put our staff together to see if there's things we can do to improve the in-game experience. Not just in the bowl, but around the parking lots and how as you exit, if there's things we can do with traffic patterns or plans to make things better for fans. In general, I think the biggest thing is, once they leave the house and that they're well taken care of and well entertained, and winning is the great elixir.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is. One of the positives from this season was reaching a deal with Empower for the stadium naming rights. I don't have to ask you about that anymore.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. That was a great partner, and look forward to getting the permanent signage up, which is backlit and will really stand out. And I know Ed Murphy, the CEO of Empower, is eager to see that happen sooner rather than later. So I am as well. But they've been a great partner, and glad to have their name on our stadium.
Any other changes coming to the stadium besides the signage?
Well, we'll sit down and have our capital meeting, and I'll go through that. The allocation of dollars, there's only so much that's available for that, and I think it's important right now that we spend as much money as we can allocating money towards players to get better on the field. But you always got to modernize your stadium. You always got to keep it up, and so we'll look at everything. And as we sit down over the course of these next couple of months, we'll know more. By the time we get to the March meetings, the next time you ask me, I might have a better answer for you.
Okay. One thing you were also asked about was the possibility of an international game. You mentioned you talked with the Atlanta Falcons about getting that done.
Yeah, I spoke with Mr. Blank, Arthur Blank, about it, and he was enthusiastic, but he doesn't make the final decision, although they do have, obviously, some input. And I think it'd be great for our organization, great for our team, and good for good for awareness of the Broncos, expand our horizons a little bit in another market and play overseas. So I'm hopeful. I'm down to begging Phil to try and get this game. So hopefully we'll get it and play in London next fall.
Why do you feel like that's so important, not just for the league, but also for the Broncos specifically?
I just think it gives you a certain extra sense of relevance that you're playing internationally. You're recognized in a foreign market. You'll gather new fans. You'll gather a different set of fans that are more interested to watch a game in London, perhaps. And just think it's something different than just doing 16 regular games like you do every year.
Brittany Bowlen has returned to the organization. Can you describe what her role is like right now?
Well, right now she's just trying to drink through a fire hose and figure everything out. But she's got a lot of tasks she's undertaking as a VP of Strategic Initiatives, and I think she's she's going to be helpful on a bunch of different fronts, and whether that's stadium development or the fan experience or diversity and workplace environment, things along those lines to make us better in those areas. What she's come in and done is basically, with a lot of people staring at her, I think, because here comes the owner's daughter, is really just been herself, gotten everybody to know about her and what she's all about, and the feedback I'm getting, and me talking to her, the initial returns are great for her, and she's got a lot of promise, and she really does. And I learned that from talking to people that worked with her at the NFL, that she worked for at the NFL, people at Duke. She's on the board of trustees at Fuqua Business School. I talked to folks at McKinsey where she worked, and just a lot of really good traits and personal qualities that I think will have her be successful no matter whether she owns the team someday or she does not. So she's got a great, great career ahead of her.
You mentioned that in your press conference, a little bit of news there, that she's been distinguished now and hopefully she'll become the eventual owner of the team. What are your goals for her then?
Well, I mean, I want to just keep developing her and get her enough responsibility. One of the biggest things she's got to do is manage people over time, and that may come a little sooner, than she likes. But instead of just being sort of part of a team, she can oversee a piece of it, and I think that's going to come fairly quickly here. And over time, just to be able to show leadership traits and qualities, and I'm not so worried about that. I think it's more just about experience here, and getting to know the people, getting to know all about the business and the team and all of that. It's going to take a little time, It takes anybody time. So experience is something you can't fast forward, You just have to get in there and get it. So I'm as I said, I'm anticipating great things from her.
And ideally win over the rest of her siblings. You mentioned that a little bit.
That probably likely has to happen for her to succeed in terms of succeeding her father, taking over for her father. If that doesn't happen, it makes it more complicated, and it puts a sale of the team in play.
I mean, the sale of the team, I guess that's a little bit of alarming for some fans. They want to know, oh gosh, are the Broncos going to be up for sale? That's just sort of due to the legality of it, right?
It's basically what the trust allows the trustees to do. And if we see that there's going to be discord in the family, I think we would probably have to opt out of letting it stay in the family and sell the team. But that's not the goal. The goal is to hopefully have the family come together for Brittany to succeed, and I think the fans would prefer that. And so that's something we're trying to attain right now.
Overall, last one for you here, Joe, is you feel good about the state of the organization right now?
I do. I feel good. I really am appreciative, given all sort of the noise and the rancor that's around the various forms of litigation that are coming, quite frankly, my way and the trustees' ways. The overall effort and work product of every single employee here has been exemplary. And when you lose a lot of games, and we've lost several in the last 3 years, people have to work harder. They've done that. And I'm really proud of the way they've put the organization first. And I feel like we're in a good place, but we got to do what everybody wants us to do, Phil, and that's win. We got to win.
All right, Joe. Thank you so much for your time. Appreciate it.
You bet. Thanks, Phil.